And on to the next one. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to read the question sentence first. So let's get to business here. So what fraction of the original muffins remained in simplest terms? So everyone, let's go ahead and make sure we read that correctly, because success and failure in a word problem, yeah, a lot of the times it's determined based on how accurately you interpret the question sentence. So what fraction of the original muffins, what word is that, everybody? Can you repeat that in the chat box for me? What fraction of the original muffins what? Yeah, what fraction of the original muffins remained? Okay, so here's how we're going to set this up. We are looking for the remaining number of muffins over the total. One more time. We're looking for the remaining number of muffins over the total. So if you're prone to rage bait, this is where I'll ask you to lower the volume and just walk away, because when we take a look at the information we're given, we see that we had 28 muffins for an event, which was the 28 that we had total in the beginning. But when we take a look at how much were consumed, that's going to be 8. 8 were consumed. Everybody, does that mean that 8 belongs up top? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. 8 is how much we ate, not how much remain. Everyone, if we ate 8 of them and we started with 28 from the beginning, we subtract and we get how many left? We get 20. 20 remain. And when we write this fraction out, this fraction here is 20 over 28. We can divide the numerator and denominator by the same value. This is called simplification. And we can get this down to simplest terms to figure out which one's correct. Everyone, 20 and 28 can be divided by 2. But what's the bigger number? What's the biggest number that can be divided out of both 20 and 28? 4. Correct. So let's go ahead and divide them both by 4. Right there and there. 20 divided by 4, that's going to give us 5. 28 divided by 4 gives us 7. And so there's our final answer in simplest terms, 5 over 7, which is answer choice C. Remember, everybody, it's C, not A, because we're looking at the fraction that remained, not the amount that was consumed out of the total, but the amount that remained relative to the total. So again, it's really all about those key words that bring the story together. All right, next one up. So let's begin with the question sentence, because the question sentence, it gives it away. But this is one of those questions that you can get wrong for the simple reason being that if you don't use the right formula, don't remember your formula in real time, it's going to give you some trouble. So with that, let's take a look at the question sentence. It says, what is its total surface area in square inches? Okay, everybody, can you agree that there is a super specific geometric term here in surface area? Can we agree that that is a very specific term? Oh yeah, that is a very specific term. Now, when I see surface area, my first question out of my brain and mouth is, what shape am I dealing with? Because guess what? Shapes have their own surface area formulas. And depending on the shape, all I got to do is figure out the sides, plug them in, and I'm good. Everybody, what shape are we dealing with? It's right here. Cube. A storage cube has edges that are each 10 inches long. So we have our storage cube just like that. Could look a little more like a square. There we go. And then from here, I will go ahead and just make sure to show you that we are indeed dealing with a cube that has 6 faces. All right, it has 6 faces. We have 1, 2, 3, and then you can't see the other 3, but they are there. You have the ones on the bottom, the left, and back. So we have 6 different faces. And the surface area formula for a cube is 6 identical faces. 6 times the area of one face, and one face is the side squared. Because again, one face is a square. So what we can say is right here, we can have the side times the side, and that gives you the area of one face. Once you have the area of one face, you just multiply it by 6. So let's plug in what we have for the side. The side is 10 inches, so we'll go ahead and have 6 multiplied by 10 inches squared. Follow your order of operations properly because you're not supposed to do 6 times 10 yet. Exponentation comes first, so we'll have 10 squared. And as a reminder, everybody, 10 squared is the same thing as saying 10 times 10. Everybody, 10 times 10, I think we all know what that is. 10 times 10 is 100, nice and easy. And so from there, we just have 6 times 100, which ends up being 600. So there we go. Our answer here is answer choice C. And I hope you understand that with a problem like this, what makes it difficult is just knowing your formula and knowing it under pressure. If you know your formula under pressure, this one is as simple as plugging in the 10 into your formula and calculating from there. All right, next up, we are asking which expression is equivalent to x cubed plus 34x squared. So when we take a look at the answer choices, we are going to be factoring out. Let's factor out the greatest common factor and see what the answer is going to be. So we have x cubed plus 34x squared. Everybody, from the jump, we take a look at this, and I'm going to ask myself, are there any numbers, any regular old numbers that I'm going to be able to factor out between these two terms? The answer to that is no. There's just a 1 here in front of the x cubed. It's not even shown. So there's nothing that's going to be factored out in terms of an actual number or a coefficient. What we can and what we will factor out is going to be the variable. So we take a look here. Everybody, pop quiz. The 3 means that we have how many x's being multiplied together? Yeah, we have 3 of these x's multiplied together. And then over here, x squared means we have how many x's multiplied together? Yeah, 2 of them. So what we're basically looking at, everybody, in terms of satisfying factoring out, we're basically looking at x cubed as 3 x's over here. Let me make this a little cleaner. Right there. And then we have 2 x's over here with the x squared. So essentially, everybody, what we're doing is I'm saying, hey, I'm going to grab that shared pair of x's, and I'm going to grab that shared pair of x's. Everybody, how many pairs of x's did I highlight? How many pairs? That's right, 2 pairs. We have the first and the second sets. So 2 pairs of x's. Everybody, how do I write 2 x's being multiplied together? X times x is the same thing as saying x squared, exactly. So that's what I'm going to bring out, everyone. That's what I'm going to bring out. And on the inside, think about it. If I had 3 of them and I divided out 2 of them, I have 1 of them left. And then when I think about this second part here, I had x squared, and if I divide out the x squared, hey, guess what? I'm only left with that 34. And so boom, x plus 34 is what's going to be left on the inside. And that's the idea. Factoring is essentially the opposite of multiplication. Instead of multiplying to get to the number, you're trying to figure out, hey, let me take out one of the numbers that multiplies up there. So it's the reverse of multiplying, just making sure you're separating those values. X squared multiplied by x plus 34 in parentheses. And that's why the correct answer here is answer choice D.